What is going on, YouTube? And today on the channel we have a deck profile, but this deck profile is from my main man Evan, Team Boy Wizzle,
Team Legacy NYC, shout out.
Ooh, spicy. But today we have deck profile of Nubatama. If you guys don't know, we just got more Nubatama support from Phantasmal Seed.
Aerial Steed Liberation is the set
my
you're
bad,
looking
Aerial
for.
Seed. I'm so sorry.
It's alright, Henry, that's why we have post edits.
Anyways, we have the profile of Nubatamas with Evan. He's gonna break down his build for us and show us why this build is so good.
It's good.
Cause he top 4 at local at Boy Wizzle.
Boy Wiz, NY. Alright, so let's start out with what we all know is in the deck. We have 4 Shura Stealth Dragon, Jamio Congo. Very simple card, 4 lines of text, no cost to pay, nothing. If your opponent has more than 6 in hand at the beginning of each end phase and on ride, they discard until they have 6. If I have a grade 3 unit in the soul, they'd make that number 4 instead. This card is self-explanatory, it's very good. It's actually jumped up in price because people in premium realize how good this card is, and it actually is what got Rene banned along with it, so it's annoying. But yeah, keep them at 4 in hand, and we go from there. 4 Stealth Dragon Void Masters. On place, your opponent can't intercept until end of turn, which is very important, and he gains 3,000 power, so you can hit your numbers. And the more important, at the end of the battle that he attacks on Vanguard or rear, counterblast 1, choose another rear guard on either side of the field and bounce into the owner's hand. So you can bounce your opponent's cards as well as your own. This is to set up your combos to let you overextend and get your cards back with little to no consequence. You can call triggers, bounce them back, and then you have your shield value and you've pushed. And mainly, you want to use this just for the intercept negation because there's a lot of matchups where they think, oh, I'll go protect 2 because they don't know what this card does. And they'll just go, okay, protect 2, big intercept numbers for my no hand, and then I just drop this. You can't play the game, have fun, we'll go to game 2. And finally, rounding out the 3s, yes, we're playing 11. We're playing 3 Covert Demonic Dragon Magatsu Storm, originally Murakumo, but here we go. So, very simple skills. The first one, counterblast 1, when your opponent's Vanguard attacks, choose 2 rear guards, retire, nullify the attack. Rarely will I ever use this. I'll usually bounce most of my field by the end, so I won't have the 2 to pay. But if you're in a pinch against something like the new Shadow Paladin Dragon that has the waterfall effect, and that's on Vanguard Circle for God knows why, Mario, this is something that can stop it. Something like Waterfall, this can still stop because you're not using a Sentinel. It's very good because there's sometimes you'll throw down cards that you really don't need or they've already lived their purpose on the board, so you can get rid of them without using your hand, which is actually really nice. But mainly, we use this to push for game. So what our second effect is, Soul Last 1 grade 3, when a rear guard is returned from field to hand, pay the cost, draw 1 card, call 3 cards down, they all gain 5,000. Now why this is important is we slowly would like to damage climb them from 0 to 5 or at least 0 to 4 with Jamio Congo. Once they're at the 4 or 5 damage threshold with 4 in hand, it's very hard for them to block 5 attacks, especially if you Void Master and they can't intercept. It's actually impossible, but it's just a finisher more than anything else. You can go into this to push early. You can actually use the grade 2, which I'll get into in a second, to actually get this off on first ride. Same with Jamio, which is why we're also playing a high count of 11 of grade 3s, because if I solo charge 1 off of my grade 2 skill, then I can actually have those secondary skills live on my first grade 3 ride, which is actually very nice early. So, grade 3 is pretty self-explanatory. If you've played Nubatama or you played against it, you'll understand why we play these cards. I don't really play the bird. It's a little too slow, and my build's very Soul Blast heavy, so it actually doesn't mesh well with the rest of my support. So that's why we're opting not to play the bird to bounce everything back and drop 5. Okay, next, grade 2s. We're trying out a new option today, 2 Stealth Beast Chigasumi. Very simple skill. When he swings, discard a card, gain 15,000. Normally that's a very bad skill because you don't like to ever go minus in the Vanguard, but when you're playing as many draw triggers as I am, and we'll get into that, I am playing 8 draw triggers, usually those will float in your hand and you'll have nothing to discard with. This lets you get rid of those cards that otherwise don't really do anything. They're 5k shields, yes, but you generally will have more shield value anyway, and those are just really more throwaway cards for skills like this. Other skills such as what am I going here for? There's a discard skill in here somewhere. Okay, perfect guards, other things like that. So yeah. Drop 1, 15k. Against a 4-card hand, it's very devastating. With AK Booster, you hit 32, which is magic number against Protect and Excel. Next, 4 Stealth Rogue Tsunamasa, very good card. Staple in every Nubatama deck, I believe. On place, choose a unit, gets 3,000. If the unit you choose is a grade 3 unit, you soul charge 1, and on top of giving it the 3,000. Why this is good, You can target your grade 3 on your first ride, have it set up so if you soul charge a 3, your new skills are actually live automatically. And also, this deck is very Soul Blast heavy. I do have to preface that. So this actually lets you refill your soul for other costs and other skills you will need. So, and also after it's done attacking Soul Blast 1, put it back in your hand. So it's a good hit and run. You can call this down, soul charge, bounce it back, do it again next turn, so on until you don't need to. And finally, for Berserk Dragons, I mean Stealth Dragon Magatsu Gale. If you've seen Berserk Dragon, same thing. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, on place, draw 1. What makes this better than Berserk Dragon, in my opinion, is because you can use this on Rearguard. This is not a Vanguard only skill. However, instead of retiring, you do get plus 6,000, which actually, I don't know, I think I still like that more than Berserk's Retire, but to each their own. And his secondary skill is, at the end of the battle that he attacks, put him into the soul, choose a Rearguard from your field, bounce it back. Or, yes. So, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We put this back into soul to fuel our soul cost. We use this to extend our combos with Magatsu. We can rush early, call this down, get its effect on rear, rush with whatever we want, put everything back. Pretty nice. Alright, grade 1s. 2 copy of the promo, Stealth Dragon Toga Juji. When your grade 3 unit attacks, counterblast 1, retire him. Your opponent cannot call Sentinels for the battle that 3 attacks. To be completely honest, I'm going to take this out because I actually haven't found it doing much for me. All my protect matchups, which I generally will win anyway because of the low hand count, they usually don't keep the protect markers or their sentinels, so they will usually get rid of them, and this card actually just does nothing. So we're probably going to put back in Fuki to get more power in our columns where we need them, but other than that, not much to say. Didn't do much, but it's an option. 3 copies of Stealth Rogue of the Night. Oops, that's not it. Sakura Fubuki. Her skill is on place. If you have 3 or more units, discard a card. She gets 3,000 power. Draw 1, and if you have 1 or less face up in the damage zone, unflip 1 damage. So we can use this to punish early. We can ride something like Magatsu with our 1 counterblast, call something and this, get the counterblast back, and just keep that counterblast open. Rush with this because this will now be an 11k attacker. A couple options. Usually deeper into the game, you won't get that counter charge as much, but you might in some certain scenarios. It really depends. This is another card I'm iffy on, but there's really nothing better to put in, and it's actually fine for what it does, so I'm actually okay with leaving it at 3. Next up, we have 3 copies of... I'm not reading that name upside down. It's a 15...
Tech.
The Spicy Tech. The Spicy Tech is actually not a tech. This is actually meant to be in the deck. It's just a vanilla 15k shield, and the reason why it's played is because, again, I play 8 draw triggers, so I lack for shield a little bit on that end with my triggers. So we basically fix that by having this, and again, there's not really that many good grade 1s in Nubatama right now, so we really don't need the grade 1 space for anything else, so we might as well use it for shield to block some particularly annoying attacks, especially your Excel matchups, because those you'll always be an uphill battle for the most part, and you need as much shield as you can, so yeah. And for Sumuji Basho, very, very good card actually. This actually won me my Grand Blue matchup today because I actually aggressively decked him out harder. So it's Soul Blast 1, once per turn, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand, reveals the top card of their deck, adds it to hand, and the card that they discarded, if it has a grade other than 0, you get 10,000 power per the grade of that card. So this is a very good follow-up for Jamio Congo, where you are putting down to 4 cards. You force them to drop 1, which gives you an option for power, or they drop a shield to not give you the power. It has a little bit of a mind game to it. And as well, they also add the top card of the deck, which is more public knowledge. So now there's a 4-card hand that you know 1 card of, which actually goes a long way, especially when you're trying to aggressively push for a game or whatever. This is actually, in my opinion, the best card in the deck. This actually just fuels all your numbers. It forces them to play around it, which is always good, especially when they have to play around Jamio Congo to begin with. So you're actually adding a little bit more of a frustrating element to the game where they're already frustrated. Alright, starter. Yeah, you know what it does. 4 draw perfect guards, you know what those do. On place Guardian Circle, drop 1, nullify attack. They're draw triggers, they're perfect guards, yeah. We're also, like I've been prefacing multiple times in this video, we are playing 8 draw triggers. We want to draw into our combo pieces as often as possible. Our opponent being limited at 4 in hand allows us to aggressively poke the sides. So we don't give them as many counterblasts as they want. We actually just keep going to sides against their 4-card hand, force them to try to play around that and slowly creep them up to 4 or 5 to the Magatsu Gale end turn. Not much to say really. I mean, there are builds that play 6-6, some builds play just 8 crits. I actually don't feel like you need the crits when you're slowly creeping anyway, so 8 draws is more than fine for my taste. And actually, I do prefer the 8 draws. I've tried all the variants of triggers, and 8 draw just feels the best to me. And of course, the only follow-up we have is 4 crits because this is a protect. We don't have fronts. I would love fronts. That'd be amazing, but crits are also nice too. And is he playing heal triggers? Is he? Yeah, we're playing heal triggers. Come on, heal triggers. Yeah, we have to play heal triggers. We don't have a choice here. I mean, we can play more crits, but that doesn't really get us anywhere. And yeah, so that's the deck profile. The object of the deck, again, is just slowly creep them up to a point where you can just push for game with 5 attacks. They have 4 in hand, 5 attacks, no intercepts. You physically and like literally cannot block that.
Okay. And what are your thoughts for next upcoming set with Tachikaze, Spike Brothers, and Mega Comics?
It looks like I might be playing this still because Spike Brothers have a nasty early game that I can punish by hitting sides. Tachikaze, we'll have to do a little bit of testing again, so always test out, always go to your locals, make sure you throw some love and test. And Mega Colony, that's I'm gonna take a hard pass on that one because I don't even want to fathom that matchup because that could go either way because we're both being annoying and it's just who can be a bigger dork. You want to mill my deck out? I want to make you just
Not a fan.
I just want you to make you not play the game, and we'll just have a very bad time together. But we'll do it together.
Okay.
Join us on our journey where we play good card games and bad matchups.
Okay. Anything else you want to say to your fans?
Shout out to Legacy NYC. Shout out to the boys. Y'all know who you are. Shout out to my Westchester crew who still play. If you're still there, I love you. Shout out to Mario. He's a good Legacy boy too. He might
See, boys.
Legacy boys. And shout out to Enrico for coming all the way up to Toywiz with his crew to play and record. We always love these guys and hope to see them more often in the future.
All right, guys. From me and Boy Wizzle to you guys, deuces.